Hello, this is Ellie Currents, and I'm Natalia Bilbao. Founded in 1781, El Pueblo de la Reina de Los Ángeles became the second civil settlement in Alta California. Now, El Pueblo is an area where different events, celebrations, and community meetups take place, cementing LA's diverse nature. Joining me today to discuss its evolution and current significance is Arturo Chavez, General Manager at El Pueblo Historic Monument. Thank you so much for being here, Arturo.
Thank you, Natalia.
So tell me, I know El Pueblo is described as the heart of Los Angeles, but what does it mean to you specifically?
Well, it's actually the heart of Los Angeles, but the birthplace of Los Angeles. So what does it mean is that this is where the city grew. This is where the city started, and this is where the city has expanded, as you can see how big we are as the city of Los Angeles now. But this was the original space. This was the original place that the city was founded.
And I know you've been working in public service for quite a few years. What drew you to El Pueblo specifically?
Well, interestingly enough, I'm an immigrant, born in Juarez, state of Chihuahua.
Oh.
And the first thing we saw when I was just a little child is that we came on the train from Juarez. My father actually worked for the railroads in Mexico, and so he was able to get us, free passes, which was really good. And so we came in as a real child, and the first thing we saw was El Pueblo, right across the street.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it kind of like created an impact and an imprint in you as a child?
Yeah, I was really young, but I remember, coming in because, everything looks larger, right, as you're a child, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was impressionable in that sense, and my parents were pretty well known in that. My uncle lived here, so it was an interesting process, right? And like anything else, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody writes in about how great the place that they have. My uncle had a one-bedroom apartment with a couple of roommates, and we had a couple of kids coming in with my parents.
Oh, wow.
Didn't work out that well, but anyway, it is what it is, and that's what happens. That's an immigrant story, as we know. Yeah.
I'm curious to know, Arturo, what are your first memories about El Pueblo as a child or as a teenager?
Well, as a child, you can get good candy.
Oh, interesting.
Because you get Mexican candy there, right? And so you can bring the candy, and then there's treats and snacks, and of course you had all these other toys and gifts at that time, right? Those things were very interesting to me, right? You had those Mexican what they call, at the time we didn't know that, but we call them casanovios, right? Which is like to get a boyfriend or girlfriend, right?
Oh my
you
God,
put your finger on one side, put a finger on the other side, then you can't get
out. Oh
yes,
right? I know what you're talking
about. That's what those little toys were.
So
well, my
funny.
brothers and I would play with those, and of course we get stuck. We didn't know it was for casanovios, but
That's great. So, as an immigrant who then lives in Los Angeles and soaks in the culture and the diversity and the colors, how do you think the significance of El Pueblo has sort of evolved for the Hispanic community specifically?
El Pueblo is, like a plaza, right?
Mm-hmm.
In any country that you go in Mexico or even in south of the border, right? Any of the Central American countries, there's a plaza, there's a placita, which is called, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where people gather at night. That's where people gather throughout the day. They shop, they eat, they meet boyfriends and girlfriends. They turn around and those activities. It's what brings people back, right? Because they're familiar with that, right? It's not as vibrant as in other countries, right? Because it's usually 24/7. People have things going on. We try to do that, and that's where people are so attracted to it because it brings back memories of your hometowns.
I'm curious to know as well, regarding the businesses that are there. You talked about how that's where you found the best candy and the best toys. But what other things do you think are significant about El Pueblo at large?
The significance is that we have several, one, the food is, universal. People want the food.
Yeah.
There's several restaurants there, small and large, right? And people love to come and eat, and it's reasonably compared to everything else that's going on. It's close by the church. We also have 8 museums on site, and those museums get people actively involved in some of the history that's happened there. We have the oldest house in the city of Los Angeles, the Casa Avila, which is the oldest house standing, right, in the city of Los Angeles. And it's a museum, and it shows and depicts exactly what life was like in those times, right? And it has the courtyard, the patio in the side, in the middle, right, which is very much an example of what was there before, right? And it's also has all the old furnishings and everything else. And so people come to see that. We also have the Siqueiros mural, which was built in 1932. It was actually painted. It was whitewashed the day after its announcement. We've preserved that. Yeah, we've preserved that through grants from the Getty, and we're now working on that as the Getty has their contract has elapsed. They've been there for quite some time, and they've trained a lot of our staff on how to keep it and preserve it, clean it, and we're now doing a lot of new modules for the actual museum, so people can see and hear and see the history there. You know, we also have, it shows the cultural diversity of the city. You know,
right.
We have a plaque there that has the 44 original pobladores, right? And many of those were indigenous, many of those were African American, and so what ends up happening is that it shows the differences of people coming together to build a city, right, during that period of time. So with that, right, we also have the Chinese American Museum there.
Yep.
And we also have the Italian American Museum, which are both housed at a pueblo, both housed on what people call Olvera Street or La Placita, right? Our department's name is El Pueblo de Los Angeles Historical Monument. A big name for a small department, but most people know it as Olvera Street and or the Placita.
La
You know,
Placita.
we say we're Pueblo de Los Angeles Historical Monument, home of Olvera Street.
Let's talk about specifically the celebration of Hispanic heritage. I love, though, that it's not just a center. Everybody associates it with Hispanic culture, but you're saying it's not just Hispanic culture. It extends to all the other almost communities that are part of Los Angeles. But since we're celebrating Hispanic heritage, what are the things that you've been focusing on this year?
Well, we kick off this, Hispanic Heritage with the 16th of September, right? And so the 16th of September, we have annually had an event at what we call the kiosco, right, or the placita, and we have entertainment and dances, and we've attributed that also to, because of the times, we also have a health fair going on at the same time, so that people can get information and also entertain themselves, and also recognize the grito, which is the independence of Mexico, right? On the 15th, we celebrate on the 16th. We typically have celebrations there every year, and we've done that. There's competition throughout the city, obviously, for this type of celebration. In fact, down the street, City Hall does their celebration on the 15th, right? And during COVID, we were the only game in town because nobody else was able to do that, so we did that. We did the grito there. We had the council offices come down. We did one virtual in what we call the Plaza de Dolores, which is a small area on Alameda in Los Angeles. And there we had one that was virtual, and then we had one at the kiosk where we had it do it during that time when people were not having gatherings. And so we like to say that we saved the grito for 2 years in a row. But
that's incredible.
but
you
did.
did.
Yeah, so we were able to at least have people see and celebrate during that period of time. So then we have that coming in 16th of September, but we also have a lot of cultural events that are sponsored through the department and through the Olvera Street Merchants Association Foundation, or as we call it, OSMOF. OSMOF does about 5 cultural events a year, and these include this month, actually, coming in. As soon as we come off the Hispanic Heritage Month, we start coming into the Day of the Dead, or Dia de los Muertos as is known. We just had that kickoff on the 7th when we had the Catrina exhibit by Lily La Catrina, and we had the art walk, what they call the Muertos Art Walk. We'll have the 5K Muertos Run, which is coming up too. And then we have from the 25th of October through the 2nd of November, the Day of the Dead celebrations, culminating in the 2nd, right? With entertainment, plays, and blessings, a combination of various indigenous cultures as well as the Catholic cultures that are there and other things that are there. And so what we do is we have these celebrations every day, every night, and then there's a procession that goes down Olvera Street, and then entertainment that goes on through the evening. Then that goes through to the posadas, of course, right? Which is another so many days that we do the same thing. And we have piñatas there filled with candy. Kids come in and knock the candies out.
And younger kids.
And kids and people of all ages, actually, right?
Younger adults.
Everybody has a kid inside, right? So that's what happens, and they all have a good time with that. So we run through that. We run through all these things through December, and then we go through our biggest thing, which is the blessing of the animals. So it instills a culture, right, and maintains a cultural awareness for most people in the city, for the foundation of the city of Los Angeles, and in particular with a lot of the Mexican culture, because we were part of Mexico for quite some time. We have a lot of the history there. We have the 3-story building that's the Pico House. That was the first 3-story hotel in the city of Los Angeles. That was built by Pio Pico, who was the last Mexican governor of the state of California. And so, we have a lot of that history, but we share that history with everyone else. But since we're in Hispanic Heritage Month, we should be talking about the culture
We
that
need to
happens
highlight
there.
it.
Yeah.
What is your favorite celebration? I know it's like asking you who's your favorite child, but which is your favorite for, maybe because it's more food heavy or more like dance heavy? What is your favorite celebration?
I think the 9-day celebration of the Day of the Dead is really interesting
That's
to
fun.
us
Yeah.
because, what I say is that, pre the Coco effect, right? The
Yes.
movie from Disney, this was a very genuine altars that are put up by merchants and people who they've lost and to celebrate life, because that's what Day of the Dead is. It's not a mourning, but a celebration. And so that was more of our organic altars, right? After this, everybody has these celebrations, including Grand Park and other places outside. Don't want to name competition, but this is what happens. And so it's good because people are accepting the culture, they're accepting what this means and the significance, and also the celebration of life, which is very important for most people to have that type of celebration and remember those loved ones that have gone and not grieve, but celebrate their life.
Let's talk about the fact that you said it's a small organization that has a big status. It's a historical monument.
Correct.
So tell me about how that came to be and what does that mean?
Well, originally the Pueblo itself was it was 3 parts, right? Owned by the city, owned by the county, and owned by the state of California. Not until 1981 did they become taken over by the city of Los Angeles and become a department. In fact, that's one of the issues that happened with that founding, is that we only have a general plan that was in 1981. And that was when the city, the state, and the county ceded the authority for the city to run the site. Prior to that, it was run by nonprofit organizations, and so the city took it over. So that in particular is important because now this year we're doing what we call a master plan that we've got funded from the City Council in order to really identify some of the things that can be done at the site, because the old general plan is somewhat restrictive in terms of what can be done. And I think that one of the most important things that we need to do is to try and bring this up to date, bring this place, so it could really shine and do some of the improvements, because we have so many historical buildings there that have been built for so many years that, like I tell people, this is like this old house, right? It needs a lot of repairs, and it needs some attention, and it needs some polishing up to shine, right? And so we're hoping that that gives us an opportunity to really put some attention into what can be done here with the buildings, what can be done with the sites that we have, and hopefully have a better idea through community participation, through everyone coming in and having, as we say, that everybody has their 2 cents to put in, because it's important that people take a look and see what is possibilities here, right? Because there is an ability to move forward and to build and expand and make it a great place for people to visit and enjoy.
It's definitely a very welcoming place. I mean, I can't count the times I've been to Olvera Street, and it feels like I'm transported to this placita in a town in Mexico. And I love how you keep highlighting the importance of the community participating. So, in fact, I wanted to ask you, how can the community stay informed and participate in all the events that are happening at El Pueblo?
So we have a website that's called the Pueblo Historical, Pueblo Los Angeles Historical Monument. Again, the long name. We have an Instagram that's there. We have the website, the Instagram, and we have a Facebook. We place all of the activities there, and we have a calendar of events that is published on the website on a regular basis. We put them out every month. We have entertainment that's done Tuesday through Sunday, volunteer entertainment. We have Aztec dancers that come in. We have a flute player that plays every day. Cayambe, John.
Wow, every day.
Every day. He plays Tuesday through Sunday. He plays his flute. It's great. It's a great musical instrument, right, for him. He plays a little small guitar. It's not a guitar. He told me what it is, but I'm not certain what the name is. He plays that. We have Lázaro, who's one of the oldest Aztec dancers coming out of Mexico City.
Oh, wow.
And so he has his folks that come in. He's known as the main person for Aztec dancing here in the county and the state. And so he comes out And then we have DJs in the afternoon, which is kind of an
It's for
interesting
everybody,
thing.
like
Everybody.
everybody's represented, everybody's welcome.
Yeah, they'll play like in the afternoon, the DJs, and if you come by that time period, right, you'll see the DJ playing and a bunch of seniors, right, dancing up a storm, right, in the Kiosko. They're just there dancing.
Got to check that out.
They're daily, they tend daily, and they come in and they'll dance in the afternoon, and they love it. I mean, they love the fact that they're playing this music for them, and it's a combination of music, right, that they engage. And so that's always an activity that happens on a regular and daily basis.
Me encanta, es como que le rejuvenece a los mayores. Bueno, hoy me acompaña Arturo Chavez, que es el director general del Monumento Histórico del Pueblo, para conversar acerca de su evolución y significado para la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Gracias, Arturo.
Gracias.
Cuéntame, porque el pueblo es considerado como el corazón de Los Ángeles, pero ¿qué significado tiene para ti en particular?
Para mí es una memoria y una área cultural que trae otra vez las raíces de una persona inmigrante.
Me encanta lo de las raíces, ¿no? Porque tiene tanta historia el pueblo y tiene que ser un privilegio para usted ser parte de contar y seguir contando esta historia, ¿no? Pero cuénteme en lo que tiene que ver a su trabajo en el pueblo, ¿no? Porque usted comenzó trabajando en el área del trabajo público y ahorita, ¿qué le hizo cambiar a trabajar para el pueblo?
Bueno, surgió la oportunidad de llegar al pueblo y para mí pues era un honor, ¿verdad? Llegar ahí y tratar de dirigir. Como todos los trabajos tienen sus problemas, pero la más importante es tener la vista, la gran vista de qué es lo que significa. Y lo que significa esencialmente es lo que es un sitio donde la gente puede llegar y todo el mundo está bienvenido. Y tiene muchas memorias para las personas que llegan de otros países, donde llegan a su placita, en su pueblo, en su ciudad, donde se juntan, donde se reconocen, donde se encuentran novios, donde se encuentran sus casamientos. Si quieren, pueden ir a la iglesia al otro lado de la calle. Entonces, lo que pasa ahí es de que se divierte la persona,
Sí.
hay los eventos culturales que les recuerda de sus pueblos,
Claro.
y hay la comida que pues muchos extrañan, pero hay varios restaurantes, y especialmente en la ciudad de Los Ángeles, que tienen tanta gente latina, mexicana, pues hay mucha comida mexicana.
Claro.
Pero es muy importante que la gente pueda comer y divertirse ahí en la placita.
¿Y cómo siente usted que ha sido la evolución del pueblo a lo largo de toda su historia y su significado para la comunidad hispana en particular?
Como digo, es una manera de reconectar otra vez con su propia cultura y su historia, porque lo que pasa es de que pues la placita en todos los otros países, lo que pasa es que la gente es un lugar donde la gente se arrima, se viene para conocer, se arrima para comer y tiene una se divierta. Entonces los eventos culturales traen a esas personas que vengan para ver lo que está pasando y para que se disfruten. Y para mí es importante que siga esto adelante, porque desde el inicio de la ciudad, o el nacimiento de las ciudades, hay en el pueblo. Entonces la gente ha tenido ese sentido de llegar para encontrarse, para reunirse con personas. Muchas veces la gente dice, pues nos encontramos en la placita.
Claro.
Y entonces ellos van, se encuentran, se diviertan, se comen, pasan para rebajar la comida que comieron.
Ajá, sí.
Y luego siguen adelante.
Así es. Bueno, ahorita estamos celebrando la herencia hispana. Entonces, ¿qué tipo de eventos ha planificado el pueblo y cómo se está, pues, un poco expandiendo esta importancia de celebrar la herencia hispana?
Bueno, empezamos, como sabemos que aquí que la herencia España, especialmente el mes que le dicen de herencia de España, empieza el 15 o 16 de septiembre y termina esta semana en octubre. Es un mes completo. Nosotros empezamos con el grito, o sea, el 16 de septiembre, y luego lo que pasa es de que tenemos una celebración, obviamente, ¿verdad? Con celebración en medios de música, danzas, folclórico, danzas y también mariachi. ¿Y por qué tenemos tanto impacto en esta manera? Hemos combinado eso con una feria de salud, para que la gente llega
mira.
y se divierta y también puede agarrar información de salud, porque pues ya sabemos que salimos de unos problemas y crisis de salud en este momento, entonces lo combinamos con eso. Entonces empezamos con eso, seguimos en octubre con, como empezamos tenemos una persona que se llama Lily La Catrina, que
Sí.
enseñó 27 diferentes vestidos que hizo.
Sí, vi
Ah,
alguno antes del show, ajá.
sí, sí, sí. Ha
Sí.
hecho varios programas. Entonces, además, se hizo un vestido para Vanessa Bryant, que estaba ahí. Está todavía hasta esta semana. Se termina el 16, 15, 13, 14, 15 de este mes de octubre esa exhibición. También teníamos arte muerte, ¿verdad? El arte de muerte, que es una exhibición. También habían danzas y una obra del Día de los Muertos. Entonces eso termina en este mes. También empezamos esta semana. También tenemos una carrera, o como se llama el 5K en inglés, que
Sí,
es
como una
para
maratón, ¿no? Una especie de
maratón
maratón, ajá.
de 5 kilómetros,
Ajá.
que también están embarcando este mes. Entonces seguimos eso y seguimos con el Día de los Muertos, que es el 25 de octubre hasta el 2 de noviembre. Y cada noche por
Sí,
un
es como
novenario.
casi la Semana de los Muertos, no más que
Sí,
un
sí,
día,
sí,
es
sí,
como...
es un novenario, 9
Sí,
días,
ajá.
en cual todas las noches hay entretenimiento, hay una procesión que pasa por la calle Olvera, y entretenimiento y una obra de qué es lo que significa del Día de los Muertos.
Cuando dijiste la calle Olvera, yo siempre que aparezco por ahí me encanta todo, o sea, es la comida, la gente, el color, esa música, ¿no? Es como literal transportarse a un pueblo en México, ¿no? Entonces, yo sé que la siguiente pregunta va a ser complicada de contestar porque es como decir, ¿quién es tu hijo favorito? Pero, ¿cuál es tu celebración favorita del pueblo?
Para mí el Día de los Muertos, porque es una cosa que es más orgánico, ¿ok? 35 años la calle de Olvera ha tenido esta celebración.
Wow.
35 años.
Ininterrumpidos.
Interrumpidos en el sentido de que cada año tienen esta celebración, tienen los altares que se ponen que son muy original, no son gran, pero son orgánicos por las personas que están ahí y una celebración de la vida. Entonces, ese evento, como han dicho anteriormente, es pre-Coco,
Sí,
que la película, que todo el mundo después de eso empezaron con las cuestiones del Día de los Muertos. Pero esto es un lugar original donde nació o sea seguida porque es un evento cultural que se celebra en México. Entonces, eso por esa parte es importante que la gente viene a ver no lo comercial, pero lo
claro.
original y lo verdadero de los Días de los Muertos.
Sí, como lo genuino, lo auténtico, ¿no? Y eso es lo bonito del pueblo también, creo, ¿no? Que es como que ha preservado esa identidad tan genuina, esas raíces realmente, y no ha sido como comercializado, como que es súper auténtico y original. Yo tengo curiosidad, Arturo, porque tú me compartas algún aspecto curioso o interesante del pueblo que poca gente conozca. O sea,
Unas cosas, bueno, pues bueno, hay mucha gente que me encuentro,
Ajá,
porque me dicen, no estás en ahí. Y mucha gente piensa que no tenemos museos. O sea, que mucha gente piensa que nomás es la calle Olvera. Pero
ya.
tenemos varios museos, tenemos
8
ocho
museos, ajá.
museos en el sitio, ¿ok? De la más importante, la primera casa, o sea, la casa más vieja de Los Ángeles, la Casa Ávila, que es un museo que tiene y depicta cómo se vivía en ese tiempo, ¿verdad? Entonces es importante. Es esencialmente, since que está en medio de la calle Olvera, es lo que llena más personas, o sea que tenemos más visitaciones ahí. Tenemos también, pues, el muralista Siqueiros, que hizo su obra ahí en la América tropical. Ah, lo anunció, lo vieron y se asustaron la gente de la ciudad y pues lo pintaron, sobrepintaron. Pero lo hemos preservado por muchos años y tenemos todo un museo dedicado a esto y además la gente viene para ver esa exhibición. Pero también tenemos varios otros museos. Entonces lo que yo digo es de que hay muchas cosas que se pueden descubrir que gente no lo ha visto porque además vienen y no que no queremos que vayan por la calle Olvera y comer, pero es importante que también conocen su historia. También tenemos otros museos, hay el Museo Italiano, Americano, tenemos el Chino-Americano que está ahí también, y tienen muy bonitas exhibiciones. Entonces, tenemos un museo que está en la iglesia, abajo de la iglesia, que es el Museo de Justicia. Y es muy pequeño, pero tiene muchas muy buenas exhibiciones. Entonces, pues invito a gente que más que nada, que no más comen, que no se más pasean, que no más compran, pero también investigan la cultura y la historia de Los Ángeles.
Bueno, además que es considerado un monumento histórico. ¿Y qué significa eso de que el pueblo sea monumento histórico?
Importante en la ciudad de Los Ángeles. ¿Por qué? Porque lo que pasa es que tenemos edificios que son muy antiguos, ¿verdad? Y pues el desarrollo de pues, la ciudad ha destruido muchos edificios que son históricos. Entonces la preservación y la manera de que notamos a todos los edificios que son históricos los proteja de que no vayan, porque mucha gente siempre piensa que van a desarrollar algo. No, está protegido por medio de ley, que estos edificios y este sitio está histórico y no se puede obviamente reparar y conservar, pero no se va a cambiar, no se va a destruir, no vamos a poner hoteles, no vamos a poner nada más.
Una discoteca.
No vamos a poner nada de eso. Entonces lo que pasa es de que eso es importante que la gente conoce, que por eso la necesidad de preservar, especialmente en ciudades grandes, porque pues ya sabemos que el terreno es muy, muy, muy valeroso, pero esto está demasiado más valoroso que la tierra.
Y como director general, Arturo, ¿cómo ve la evolución del pueblo? ¿Hacia dónde va encaminada?
Ahorita lo que estamos viendo es de que, como ya he dicho, esto se tomó por la ciudad en 1981, porque anteriormente era parte del condado y del estado. La ciudad la tomó en ese tiempo, es un plan general, y en este momento estamos con un plan, un plan que se llama
Un plan maestro.
Maestro, que da una idea de qué se puede hacer con participación de comunidad, con participación de las personas que están ahí, para desarrollar qué se puede hacer, qué se puede tocar, qué no se puede tocar, qué se puede ampliar, qué no se puede ampliar, qué es un problema, qué es una manera de conectar el centro cívico con el pueblo también. Todas esas discusiones y pláticas tienen que tomar a cabo. Y obviamente se tiene que ver para tener un plan más claro de cómo se puede desarrollar más y no cambiar, porque mucha gente piensa que van a cambiar, pero que lo que va a pasar es de cómo se va a preservar y cómo se va a ampliar. Y eso es importante en este tiempo.
Y hablabas mucho, Arturo, de comunidad, que es importante que la comunidad participe. Justamente, ¿cuál es la mejor manera de que la comunidad se mantenga informada y participe de todos los eventos del pueblo?
Tenemos una página de web, estamos en las redes sociales, estamos en Instagram, estamos en Facebook y también estamos en una red social del sitio, ¿verdad? Que es el pueblo de Los Ángeles. Movimiento historial. Lo que pasa es de que hay mucha gente que tiene otras cosas que se llama Olvera Street, nosotros no tenemos eso. Nosotros tenemos el nombre muy grande, pero un departamento muy pequeño, pero un lugar muy importante. Y eso es el Monumento Histórico de Los Ángeles.
Well, thank you so much, Arturo, for talking with us today about the history and evolution of el pueblo de Los Ángeles. Gracias, Arturo, por conversar con nosotros acerca de la historia y evolución del pueblo de Los Ángeles.
Oh, gracias, Natalia. Thank you, Natalia.
This is LA Currents. I am Natalia Bilbao. Thank you so much for watching. Esto es LA Currents. Soy Natalia Bilbao. Gracias por vernos.